Welcome back, Royal Family. My name is Louie and this is Royal Productions. Remember, your mind is your crown. I love offering this information because I just don't only grow, but I'm also helping other people learn about these things who are not aware of them. Remember, if you're not helping, you're in the way. On top of that, with this information, your mind is your crown, like I said. Continue to adorn your crown with new jewels, with new information. Because the more you learn, remember, information is never held in isolation. Everything and all this stuff is out there, but it's only up to you to see it. Okay, my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, is The Matrix, and the whole idea of when Neo went to go see the Oracle. Watch out for that vase. What vase? And then he knocks it over. This is exactly the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun, but you have to understand that if your mind isn't tuned to the frequency of that information, then you're not going to be able to pick it up. So always, always, always teach yourself to become better, not just mentally, but physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Okay, now with that, let's get right into this information I have for you guys today. So the total crypto market is sitting at 2.39. All right, fear and greed index sitting at 27. All right, let's look at these coins really quick if you guys are interested. All right, moving on. So first article I have for you guys says BlackRock debuts staked Ethereum ETF as demand grows for yield in crypto funds. So basically, BlackRock now has an ETF where you can earn yield. We'll cover that right now. Next on the list, we have major data breach at healthcare tech firm impacts 3+ million people. All right. Next on the list, FATF. You don't have to really understand all these alphabets. You can just understand the trajectory and what each of them are doing. All of them have their own regulations and whatnot. But basically, warns offshore crypto firms, creates money laundering and sanction gaps. We covered this yesterday and the day before, so if you haven't seen that, go look at it. It's about Iran and stuff like that. Okay, moving on. Okay, tether-backed Arc Labs 5.2 million bet on Bitcoin stablecoin revival. Okay, so it looks like Bitcoin is gonna have a stablecoin. All right, we'll see how that goes in a minute. All right, strategy STRC buys an estimate of 7,000 Bitcoin this week, but 2Prime CEO warns no free lunch. And we're gonna see what that means right now. And something that I like to focus on a little bit more with this video is why Ray Dalio says Bitcoin can't replace gold. Okay, all that coming up next. Okay, so BlackRock debuts stake Ether ETF as demand grows for yield in crypto. So basically, BlackRock's iShares staked Ethereum Trust ETF, ETHB, the firm's first crypto fund to incorporate staking, begins trading on Nasdaq Thursday. So as of today is that Thursday, they will start giving staking yield. Okay. So basically, the fund, which charges a 0.25 sponsor fee, broker fee, same damn thing, with a temporary discount to 0.12 for the first 2.5 billion, targets a broad range of investors as BlackRock deepens its push into the digital asset product. Now, I get it for institution not being able to go into crypto, but as for a retail investor, you should really do your own research and probably just invest in Ethereum by itself. Skip the ETF. Skip the what's the name fee, the sponsor fee. Like, it's getting out of hand. Okay, then you get a discount on the sponsor fee. Like, what? Anyways, I'm not gonna stay too long on this, but this is good. This is growth for institutional adoption. Okay, so we're moving in the right direction. As a retail investor, we're actually lucky. We're here first and we're able to do this stuff without getting caught up in the politics of crypto. Okay, so remember, with the .com boom, first it was institution, then retail. With this, it's the opposite. Okay, it's retail first, now institutions. So not financial advice, but get your bags ready. We're about to take off. Here we go. BlackRock involved. So they've been involved, but it's coming out to the light. Okay, moving on. So this, I'm not going to stay too long on this, but I just see this as the planned predictive programming thing where they are disrupting the system on purpose. So basically, names, social security numbers, and insurance information potentially exposed. It was exposed, okay? And this was for them to start incorporating quantum digital ID, okay? So a lot of this has been happening not just with the healthcare, okay, but with the banks, with all kinds of stuff, all kinds, okay. So I think they're just destroying the system so they can implement the new infrastructure of what's next, okay. All right, moving on. So this is a little bit more worrisome because when we say, or when they say level playing field, this is exactly what they're talking about. So basically, it warns of crypto offshore firms creating money laundering and sanction gaps. So with cryptocurrency, it moves so fast, so quickly that if you're not paying attention to like, there's flags. So like when you use your card for a certain thing, it gets flagged. Sometimes your bank doesn't let you get something. You have to go in, approve it, accept it. I know that happens with me when I try to buy some crypto, where it's like, well, is this you sure you're doing this? You know what I mean? And they'll send me a message on Chase and whatnot. But basically, it's hard for them to regulate this stuff and track the illicit activity, basically. And they don't want any gaps in this system, okay? Everything has to really be accounted for. And with the blockchain system, it could do that. Okay, this stuff moves quick. The quantum computing behind this stuff is quick. So you have to understand that as soon as an asset is put onto a ledger, pegged to something, it gets put into the block and it stays there. But when you have people putting fake money on there, tether, sorry, I didn't mean that, but when you have people putting like unregulated, unbacked money onto these markets, okay, that's why this is happening to the market now, is because there's so many bad actors still. Like, as this market should be growing just based off the technology and how it is, it's anti-inflammatory, you know what I mean? It's all those things. It's probably money 2.0 as we know it, but we have to make sure that the plumbing is done correctly, okay? Like I said, I don't want to spend too much on this, but we have to understand the stuff with Iran, the war. The war could have been started because America and the rest of the country is like, hey, they're under sanction, but they're still making millions and billions of dollars by using crypto and all these other ways of transacting. We can't have that, especially after we sanction them. It's kind of arrogant from American standpoint, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's just the world we live in, okay? Arrogance is like at the highest right now. Moving on, okay? Tether backs ARX Labs 5.2 million bet on Bitcoin stablecoin revival. So I don't really know too much about Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin fan. I know about Bitcoin, but it doesn't make sense to me, especially with all these other cryptos we have going on in the world and what they actually do. Like, some of these cryptos have actual utility, okay? Bitcoin doesn't have any utility. It's too slow. It's too clunky. Go do your research. IMF, WF, they don't like Bitcoin. And these are the World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund. Like, we have to understand, like, these big players are not going to be using Bitcoin, okay, if it's slow. It's just no time for that, really, But anyways, ARK Lab secures backing from Tether and Anchorage Digital. The firm plans to advance stablecoins and real-world assets on its Bitcoin layer. The technology processes transactions off-chain with a fail-safe measure. And then that's the thing I hate about this, is the whole idea of off-chain. Like, why? Because you can't do it on-chain with Bitcoin. Bitcoin won't do that. So what I'm thinking they're going to do is they're going to have a stablecoin pegged to the asset Bitcoin, and it's going to be off-chain but still back one-to-one. I don't know, to help with fail-safes and whatnot. I don't know how exactly it's going to run, but it doesn't make sense to me. The only good thing I look at is Switzerland-based firm. So Switzerland I can kind of count on, but when it comes to them doing it with Bitcoin, I think it's one of them things where it's like, let's continue to try this. Let's try. Even though we know it's not going to work, let's still continue to try to do this. And to be honest, if they're able to do it, good for them. Good for the whole system. But if they're not able to do it, a lot's going to be hurt. Okay? All right, moving on. Remember, these articles will be down below if you guys want to read them yourself and go through them, okay? So moving on to strategies, STRC, buyback. So basically, they buy, not buyback, but buy. They bought about 7,000 Bitcoin this week, okay? And 2Prime CEO warns that no free lunch. So basically, down here. Let me go. Okay. So the yield is about 11.5 with a monthly payout. Okay, that is high. All right. I don't know how they're going to be able to sustain this high ass yield, and especially if it starts dropping, people are going to be upset. Okay, but they basically have doubled down and have bought more. Michael Sellers Group, STRC strategy. They actually doubled down and bought more. I'm not going to continue bad math and Michael Seller, but what they're doing seems good. You know what I mean? If you can get 11.5 payout monthly, you get me, then I'll put my money there. The point blank period. But I'm not gonna put it there if it's Bitcoin. It's simple as that. I would just not do that. If it's something like XRP and you get that yield, all day, all day. But not with Bitcoin. Okay. Like, remember, always doing your own research. If you enjoy Bitcoin, you enjoy Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. Okay. If you enjoy XRP, you enjoy. If you enjoy Ethereum, it's all up to you. Okay. Individuals. All right. Moving on. Why Ray Dalio says Bitcoin can't replace gold. Now, that's just point blank period. I don't think it can. Okay. You can say Bitcoin or any of these assets are finite, but gold has real world utility. Like, you can build stuff with this. Yeah, you can use the money from Bitcoin and stuff to build stuff, but that's like going backwards. You know what I mean? It's like our cell phones, jewelry, everything revolves around these precious metals. And I'm not just going to say gold, but I don't think Bitcoin can replace any type of precious metal. I don't think any asset can replace real precious metals. I don't think a digital anything can replace a physical something. It can't replace it, but it can work hand in hand. You can have tokenized gold. You can have tokenized metals. Okay, you can have a tokenized house as a real world asset. I believe that can work. But when you talk about replacing, there's no replacing. It's only working in either hand to hand. Either we get along, or one of us got to go. And if I were to pick gold over Bitcoin, oh, trust and believe I'm picking gold all day. Say the internet goes out. Say EMP happens. Say a war happens. No one's gonna give a F about digital currencies or stuff like that. You know what I mean? But Ray Dalio argues that it cannot be replaced as gold as the world's primary store of value because of it has thousands of years of history, as money remains deeply embedded in the global finance. Now, I'm not going to go too far into conspiracy, but when you go as far into the Anunnaki and you go as far as into gold and where it comes from and how it became a value to humans or monsters, I guess, to I'm not going to get into that, but it became valuable to us. There's a bigger story behind it. Okay, so like I don't think Bitcoin's ever going to replace gold, but to each their own. Invest in both, invest in one. You know what I mean? But that's all I have for you guys today. Until next time, y'all, hit that like, subscribe, and share this with other people. I'm out.